Sit here.
Hello, beautiful.
Maya.
Why in the middle, Maya?
It's always in the middle.
Thank you.
No.
Does anybody have anything to share? No?
No.
Alright, say something to your Year 12 self.
Get really smart and don't die.
Don't get dumb. I hope you had fun in school. Bye.
Do you guys know what you want to do after school?
No.
What about you two? Do you guys know what you want to do after school?
Well, Jade's gonna be a hairdresser. I want to be a hairdresser. And I don't know.
Alright, take a seat.
I do. I remember when I fell off a chair in art. That was really funny. I thought I broke my arm, so I want to be a hairdresser. So I don't know.
It's a vanilla cake.
And are those chocolate ganaches on the sides? What are they?
They're fondant little dots.
Gosby, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Chocolate smear. Just
Wait, let's go. Are we gonna eat them now?
So you guys made that?
Yep.
Stunning, guys. It's like off the episode of MasterChef.
Wait.
Who did most of the work?
I did most of the work for mine.
There's a microphone. That thing smells like honey. Just thought I'd let you know. I was sniffing it before. It smells like honey.
You ready?
Oh, rock climbing.
The rock climb.
Yeah, I fell off that. That didn't end well, but that was funny. My dad was laughing, which was very mean. He still laughed. Oh, it's filming. I did not know that.
Who's your best friend?
Sarah.
I have many best friends.
That is so
And she's one of them.
Yeah,
I love my them to But I do have many friends. Good luck in your HSC, Grace.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Thanks, that was so awkward.
That was really.
That's it.
I didn't even know I was running.
See?
Anyway.
Yeah, she was just like,
Oh, it's laughing. Oh, I mean,
speak up.
okay, let's go.
Alright.
Are you still filming?
Yeah, I was.
Oh!
Yeah, so we tried a few other things. We got Ellie on board. So, probably the best one there. Yeah. Yeah, she definitely made it. Oh my god, I hate medical problem, we can't do anything about it.
Alright, show me your push-ups, come on.
I'm doing planks actually. Alright, come on. Show us a plank. Show us a plank. Girls, come on. A nice plank, nice straight back. Holding it still and looking up for the camera.
Okay, for 10 minutes.
Are we all on?
Oh, you've already given up. Tell us, what's the life like for an office duty kid? I mean, we just got a message now.
Fairly boring.
Is it tough? Is it tough work?
Absolutely horrible. Slaughter.
Wait, let me see his hand. Let me see his hand.
You put that on the
Who said that?
Oh, this morning we were talking about the seats. We get rid of the seat. Yeah, we get rid of the seat. Everybody to pretend to be sitting on it, and then everybody just stands up and like the seat's just not there.
First question. What's the funny story from Year 7? Cam. From Year 7 Cam.
When Jamie poured water into Hayden's ear when he was sleeping.
Oh yeah, when I put coffee into someone's ear when they were sleeping. It's funny.
Well, I didn't hear about this. What's going on? Talk to the camera. What do you want to say to Ali in Year 12 or Corey in Year 12? Come on.
I
hope you're not fat. Hey, see you in year 12.
Year 12s are looking back on you now.
Hello into the future. I hope you're smart. Futurely, don't do anything too dumb. Stay good looking.
Say what?
Stay good looking.
Stay good looking. Alright, Tom.
See ya. 5 years. I think. 4.
Something you want to say to yourself in year 12?
Don't fail anything.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't drop out.
12, you're looking back at yourself right now. Come on, say something to him. What do you wish that you're going to do in year 12?
I just wish I'll make it. I don't think I'm gonna.
Hope my reports get better.
Alright, good. Alright, say bye.
Bye.
Sam,
What else to say?
something for yourself in year 12.
I hope that I do good in school.
I want to become a teacher.
Cool. No words?
I have to wait like 6 years to watch this video.
I don't think I'd ever like watch these videos.
Yeah.
You will. Why wouldn't you? It's going to be a surprise. I bet you guys will forget about the videos by the time we're in year 12.
Okay.
Alright, we done?
Bye.
Okay, say bye.
You have to have a jacket on at all times. You don't unclip it until we come back up here.
Why? Turn on your torch and you'll see.
back. Or you won't be able to sleep.
I'm sorry, I have to.
Oh, what's on the wall? Someone's wrote something on the wall because that wasn't there when I was there. There was something on the wall like.
Yeah, it says liar.
Oh, okay.
Left column.
Oh, now it says green.
It says green in the top left.
We win. We win.
We did it, so
Victory. Yeah, oh, it's gone. Diffused.
Well done.
Oculus. Too good.
Hi! It's this. Who are you?
I'm Georgina.
I'm Sade, and we are Biffles.
Oh, and I'm Nicholas. PNC before.
You look like an 8-year-old.
No, I don't.
Anyway,
I'm very small. I hope you grow.
I'm just here to say hi, and I believe Georgina will have a great spurt.
Hey.
Yes.
He's a meter taller than me.
If she's taller than me when I'm in year 12, then something's wrong here.
Anyway, if
I have a tango
when I'm in year 12, please tell me I've survived high school because I don't think I am going to. But keeping it positive, what about you? Have anything to say?
I hope I get a good grade.
Guys, how do you record?
You are recording. It's on your face.
Is this on?
It's flashing. It's on.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Hi, I'm Nicholas, and I am you when you were younger. Yes, I am. If I have a girlfriend when I'm in year 12, shut up.
You won't.
I promise that when we watch this video, I promise before the end of the year, I'll probably be taller than my girlfriend if I am. Unless if I'm small when I'm in year 12, then I'll be surprised and remember the good days when you were tall.
Hi. Make sure you get a boyfriend before year 12.
My name's Sam.
Hi, I'm Isaac. Isaac, remember. Stay your sick, lad.
Hello.
I'm Caitlin Walsh. I have just been
petrified fellow Penrith boy, James Courtney. Grew up.
Premier mentioned on this show.
Yeah. I just bring everyone in. Hey, we've got some young fellas. We've got Josh, Tom and Abby. These are part of the Channel 9 family. They're the nieces and nephews of Matt Callender. That's our boss. So we'll look after you. You've got to come and help us.
Then we'll get it left.
Abby, you can help Aaron down here, boys. You've got to feed the ball back to her, all right?
I feel like I would go better the end.
That's right, many as you can.
2, 1, go!
That's 5. Not bad.
Get some balls back here, guys!
Hurry.
Oh, no, he hit the kid.
Our next guest has written a book about his experience with bullies, and I'm thrilled to say it is now a bestseller. Nicholas Bold joins us now. He is the author, and Jacqueline is his mum. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Lisa.
Well done. Congratulations. This landed on my desk. I showed it to the boss, and he said straight away, what an amazing story. Tell us through exactly what you went through. Give us one of your best tips for how to deal with it.
Well, stand up to the bully. You've got to stand up. If you don't, they're just going to put you down again every day. So if you don't stand up, it's just the worst.
Well, Nicholas, out of something really awful, you're doing something wonderful. Congratulations. You really are an absolute star. I can't imagine where you're going to go from here. Thank you.
Yeah, when you're ready.
Ready, set, go, left. Oh, Jesus, I can't even get off the ground. Everyone get your feet off. Everyone get your feet off. Okay. Hey, right. Okay, right. Right again. Left.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming here today. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know we sent out all of the COVID restrictions via email, but I do just need to reiterate that we are very fortunate today to be able to go ahead with our Year 12 graduation with parents present. However, it is really important that we do remain in our pod where possible. If you need to go to the bathrooms, please use the walkways to get there, and please, if you can, avoid talking to other families. These are the restrictions that are enforced and that we do need to follow to make sure that we can have our day remembered as the day that we were able to have a graduation, not the day that we broke the rules. So in a moment, you will hear some drums and you will hear our Year 12 enter. You may notice in the program that we're not following it as such. There is a predicted storm to roll in throughout the graduation, so we've flipped it. We will be going to Plan B, and we will be starting with the presentation of their graduation certificates. We know you all came to see your children graduate, so we thought it would be better if we get them through that before we have all the speeches. Without further ado, I think they're coming. Year 12, you may open your gift from the school and sit on it. Year 12, you may open your gift to sit on as you enter. Thank you. We feel very fortunate to celebrate our Year 12 graduating 2020. We are very lucky that we are able to go ahead, and you can thank Mr. Ibrahim for that. A little rain or a worldwide pandemic was not going to allow this day to stop. As I mentioned previously, we are changing the order today, and we will be starting with the presentations. But before that, can I please welcome Stella McCann and Hayat Yassin for the National Anthem. You may now be seated. I would now like to welcome Alana Cohen to do our Acknowledgement of Country.
I would like to begin by acknowledging the Dharawal people, traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and future, for they hold the memories, traditions, the culture and hope for Aboriginal people. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today.
Thank you, Alana. I would now like to welcome our two school captains, Jacob Alfara and Ellie Diver, to do their Year 12 speech.
Good afternoon, teachers, parents and Year 12. It brings Ellie and I great pleasure to share the journey we've experienced over the past 6 years at Cronulla High School, where we believe we've grown as individuals. Before I pass on to Ellie, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today to make this graduation a special experience for us all.
Year 12. It goes without saying that this year was a hard one. As we began our HSE journey, it seemed the world around us was falling apart. We started with the bushfires, making history as the worst fire season ever endured across the state. I understand that you and all of your families felt the pressure as many Australians struggled. This fear and uncertainty created extra pressure for us as a Year 12 group, and just when we thought it couldn't get worse, it did. Coronavirus. We would have never expected that a global pandemic would hit us in the most important year of our high school career. We all had to adapt to the new life sprung upon us as we were forced into lockdown, having to learn our HSC content from home. Anxiety levels were high as we felt every time we would cross a barrier, another issue would arise. In saying this, although cliche, it really did make us stronger, and I am extremely proud of the way we showed resilience. It is in tough times like these that our school spirit shines. On behalf of Year 12, I would like to thank our year advisors, Mr. Hollywood and Miss Wilkinson, as well as Mr. Ibrahim, Miss Lawson, and Mr. Burnett, who, throughout the entire year, kept our spirits up. They experienced the stresses of 2020 with us and were available to assist us with any concerns we had. I would like to extend this thanks to all Year 12 teachers who, like us, had to adapt to the challenges of online schooling.
To our new school captains, Kai and Celeste, Ellie and I could not think of better people to pass this role down to. You're both great individuals and have definitely earned this privilege. We wish you the best of luck and are excited to see how you lead another year at Cronulla High School. Now, I'm not the emotional type, as most people know, but before I begin, I would like to first thank the two most important people in my life, my stepmother Karen and my dad. I'll admit, not having my mother around whilst growing up has been hard for me at times. But Karen, thanks to you, it's been a lot easier to grow up because I know you love me as if I were your own. So I thank you. Dad, the biggest softie in the Alfaro family, you've supported me my whole life. From the day I moved in on the 18th of April 2010, whether it be soccer, cross-country, tennis or academics in school, you've always said I can do better. And it's because of you that I've pushed myself to succeed in whatever life throws at me. So I love you, Dad, and thank you. After some deep thought over the last few weeks, I've realised how fast my high school journey has been. However, it also seems like such a long time ago since I was in Year 8, being the biggest sweat in the chess tournaments, borrowing chess books from the library and studying strategies and tactics to ensure I defeated future opponents. It got to the point that I was so good, I was making numerous students flip the board on me in frustration because they couldn't beat me at all. The year before, in Year 7, I received my first attention from Mr. Chandler for being 20 seconds late. What's ironic about this is I don't think Mr. Chandler showed up to any of our PDH lessons this year. And also receiving my second and final detention from Miss Fairweather in Year 8 because she decided to ask me, out of everyone in 8N, how old I thought she looked. And being the extremely upfront and cheeky 14-year-old I was, I told her that she looked 74. And from that day onwards, I deeply regret that comment I made. Believe it or not, it was small memories like this that taught me important life lessons for the future. For example, I now make it a priority that I arrive on time for particular occasions, as well as thinking and processing my thoughts before I respond with answers to various questions. Now, I've played with the same school soccer team since Year 7, and winning 4 out of those 5 grand finals with the P-Lads has been by far my favourite achievement at school. Now, our coach, Mr. Osman, claims victory for all those years of winning. However, one of the 2 years that he decided to show up to the grand final, we actually ended up losing. But thanks to our legendary soccer captain, Sean Kennedy, Mr. Osman was able to claim a final victory. Year 12, it's been great having your presence surrounding me for the last 6 years and seeing the variety of different qualities you all have. For instance, you have your standout diligent students like Elvie Howe, Hyatt Yassine, Callum Payne and Liz Smith. But you also have your quiet achievers that I believe don't get enough credit, like Amy Goodman, Michael Robinson, Ashley Scarra and Maya Berracloth. You have your artistic students like Kirsty Irving, Ruby Jackson, Sade Spencer and Holly Manson. You've got your bogans like Ryan Lee, Tom Callender, Brock Watman and Connor Dillon. You've got your sporty people like Charlotte O'Brien, Jackson Brennan, April Drury and Jared Stoffels. You've got your comedians like Connor Reardon, Jet Connell, Bo Page and Andy Lack. Then you've got someone like Sky Gosby, who can remember English essays and the PDH PE syllabus off by heart, but thinks that England is a continent, Asia is a country, and still thinks France is in Egypt. To all the other 113 students of Year 12, I could easily say something positive about every one of you, but unfortunately time has the better of me. I feel like we can all relate to each other in some way, no matter how different we are, and that's saying something. It's been quite an insane year, a year like no other, with lots of challenges getting in the way of our paths. We could have just given up and blamed the external environment for failure, But instead, we've soldiered on, showing extreme courage and resilience throughout the year towards our schooling. If anything, I feel like this year has actually made us more connected with each other, as we've had to deal with the many hurdles together as a whole, by lifting up and helping each other out. Parents, it goes without saying that you should be extremely proud of your daughter or son's achievements this year, no matter what their final result is, because I can personally say it's been a privilege to have known your son or daughter.
Although 2020 did not give us the easiest run, it is important to reflect on our other years of schooling too, as they shape us into the people we are today. On our first day of Year 7, it was a whirlwind of emotions. The leap from primary school to high school came with responsibility, excitement and nerves. Coming from the very tiny Bundeena public school isolated from the rest of the Shire, I was excited to make new friends and finally catch the ferry with the big kids. I had no idea what the big adventure of high school would have in store for me. It didn't take long for me to get my bearings and feel comfortable in the new school environment, once I got over the initial shock of a school with more than 200 kids. The time began to fly past, and before I knew it, I was experiencing new opportunities each day. During my time at Cronulla High School, I went on many enjoyable trips, such as the Year 10 snow trip and the Duke of Ed trip to Coonabarabran, each coming with new opportunities and experiences. Before I knew it, I was just about to begin Year 12, in which I landed the role of school captain. Year 7 me would not believe anyone who tried to tell me this is where I would end up. Speaking here today as captain at my Year 12 graduation. The thought of standing up here in front of you all would terrify me. This role has pushed me completely out of my comfort zone, and I have loved every minute of it. In just 1 year, I have learnt so much and developed as a person immensely. I would like to thank my fellow captain Jacob, vice captains Hyatt Yassine and Connor Dillon, as well as the rest of the prefect body, for the crazy year we have had. You have all stepped up to the role of leaders of our school, and I couldn't be prouder of you all. Year 12, I would now like to take the time to acknowledge all of the friends and family that could not make it to the ceremony today. I have faith that if they could, they would, and that they would all be sitting in the front row as proud as ever, with all smiles. Lastly, I would like to say a big thank you to everyone watching via our live stream. I understand with these circumstances, it is extremely hard for everyone to make it. We hope you enjoyed today's proceedings, no matter where in the world you are. Year 12, it has been a pleasure growing up with you all for the last 6 years. Thank you all so much for creating the best high school experience, Jacob and I could ever ask for. We wish you the best of luck for your future as you close this chapter and begin a new one. Thank you.
Year 12 portfolios and awards will be presented by Mr. Thomas Hollywood and Mr. Tony Ibrahim.
If I could ask you all to hold your applause until the end of the presentations, that'd be fantastic. Claudine Abdul Karim. Matthew Alexander. Jacob Alfaro. Lily Atkins. Ali Awada. Mattia Bedwell, diligence in English Standard and diligence in Music 1. Corey Bell. Maya Berricloth, first in Industrial Technology Multimedia and first in Mathematics Standard. Isabella Bland. Madison Blight, first in English Studies. Jade Boffinger. Nicholas Bold. Alexander Boskovsky. Kyla Bramley. Jackson Brennan, diligence in English Standard, diligence in Geography. Isabella Brennan. Isabella Brown. If you could give those students a round of applause. Luke Butterfield. Tom Callender. Liliana Carboni, diligence in economics, diligence in Japanese. Yumiko Casaselli, first in English Standard, diligence in modern history. Bailey Chapman. Rachel Clark. Alana Cohen. Kira Cummins. Jet Connell. Harrison Cook. Gabrielle Cowan. Grace Cutts. Tian de Burka. Diligence in Entertainment Vet. Connor Dillon. Ellie Diver. Phoebe Downs. Diligence in Business Studies. Josh Dresser. April Drury. Diligence in History Extension 1, Diligence in PDH PE. Madison Dunn. Daniel Edwards. Millie Engel. Georgina Fardoulis. You could please give those students a round of applause. Bailey Fowler. Braden Gill. Josie Gooding, first in dance. Amy Goodman, first in English Extension 2, first in Geography, diligence in Ancient History, diligence in Extension 1 English, diligence in English Advanced, diligence in Mathematics Standard. Sky Gosby, first in Food Technology. Jay Godvic Dobson. Veronica Guilfoyle. Kaya Hancock. Caitlin Harden. Katia Harvey, diligence in business studies. Sarah Hazelman. Riley Hodgson. Elvie Howell, first in chemistry, first in mathematics extension 1, first in physics, first in science extension, diligence in English advanced, diligence in mathematics extension 2. David Imlay, first in music 2, diligence in English standard. Kirsty Irving, first in business studies, first in legal studies, first in visual arts. Finn Jackson. Ruby Jackson. Ava Jones, who's not with us today. Luke Joubert, diligence in science extension. Josh Keith. Could we please give those students a round of applause? Julia Keelian Fagian. Sean Kennedy. Sean Kiley, diligence in engineering studies. Stanislav Korotin, first in economics, first in mathematics. Jennifer Lane. Nook Lee. Andy Leck, first in mathematics extension 2. Ryan Lee. James Lycus, diligence in sport, lifestyle and recreation. Caitlin Lindsay. Silla Louis. Olivia Mackenzie. Cooper Mannion. Holly Manson. Elias Mastros, Diligence in Industrial Technology Multimedia. Stella McCann. Lara McCauley. Rebel McFadden. Mitchell McGrath. Tian McGrath, Diligence in Biology. Please give those students a round of applause. Katrina McNeil, Diligence in Hospitality Vet. Isabella McRae. Sophia McRae. Tian Molino. Sabine Moller. Layal Mukadam. Leland Overton Chase, First in Earth and Environmental Science. Charlotte O'Brien. Casey O'Brien. Emma Orell, diligence in drama.
Were you Tanner on the board?
Tanner O'Sullivan. Bo Page. Chili Patterson. Callum Payne, first in construction vet, diligence in design and technology, diligence in English standard, diligence in mathematics extension 1. Oscar Payne. Caden Pete. Lachlan Pennington. Paige Persane. Grace Phelan, first in Japanese. Kayla Philpott, first in PDHPE, diligence in community and family studies. Could we please give those students a round of applause? Jake Picknell, diligence in chemistry, diligence in mathematics standard. Sophie Piggott, diligence in dance. Mitchell Pitt. Ethan Pollard. Cielo Powditch. Callum Power, first in engineering studies. Tamika Pratt. Shawnee Raper. Maxim Raya, first in hospitality vet. Connor Reardon. Jessica Rehack. Michael Robinson, diligence in English standard, diligence in physics. Jesse Romaine. Brianna Rocks. Brianna Rutherford. Chelsea Sate, first in sport, lifestyle and recreation. Kirsty Sant, diligence in biology, diligence in legal studies, diligence in mathematics standard, diligence in PDHPE. Ashley Scara, first in biology, diligence in mathematics. Emma Schreck, diligence in business studies, diligence in community and family studies, diligence in mathematics standard. Tiana Sedman. Can we please give those students a round of applause? Jonah Segal, diligence in industrial technology multimedia. Elizabeth Smith, first in History Extension 1, first in Modern History, first in Society and Culture, diligence in Legal Studies. Sade Spencer, diligence in visual arts. She's not here today. Emma Straker. Lucy Stanley Jones, diligence in mathematics. Jared Stoffels. Ella Straker, first in Community and Family Services, first in Design and Technology, diligence in Business Studies, diligence in English Advanced. Samuel Tadros.
I just read straight off the teleprompter.
Caitlin Thu. Prue Turner, first in Entertainment Vet, diligence in Mathematics Standard. Zoe Vanderpolder, diligence in Earth and Environmental Science. Jessie Waite. Caitlin Walsh, first in Drama, diligence in Modern History. Lachlan Ward. Brock Watman, diligence, construction vet, diligence in English studies. Isaac Whitbread. Amelia Wilson. Chanel Wilson, diligence in food technology, diligence in legal studies, diligence in society and culture. Timothy Witherden. Hyatt Yassine, first in Ancient History, first in Extension English 1, first in English Advanced, first in Music 1. Please give all students in Year 12 a round of applause.
Our 2020 Vice Captains, Connor Dillon and Hyatt Yassine, will now give their address.
Before we begin, I want to give a shout out to Chili Patterson, who's been given a day relief from hospital. He's doing fine, and I've heard he's got a really hot nurse. So, speaking of hot, I'm Connor, and I only got this job because I was friends with last year's captains. Hyatt likes to believe we only didn't get captain because of the height requirements, but...
I suppose I should introduce myself too. I'm Hyatt. Being Lebanese, my favourite food is hummus, and my favourite colour is, of course, aqua, much like Tia Molino. Before I begin, I would like to start by congratulating the school on going above and beyond, exceeding the diversity quota with a record-breaking 7 non-white students within our year, me being one of them. Can we get a round of applause, please? Thanks. I felt a bit nervous having to do this speech, but Mum told me to imagine the audience naked. Kind of regretting that now that I'm standing in front of Nicholas Bold. I've got a razor in my car if you need one, by the way.
Around this time last year, you guys chose us to be the beautiful faces of Cronulla High. And look, if I'm being honest, I totally forgot I was vice captain until about a few days ago. Coronavirus has really made this job easy. This is the first and last thing I've had to do, so please enjoy. Oh, it's still me. Ooh. When I first came to Cronulla High, I was this weird short kid with bad skin and a massive forehead. 6 years later, and it feels like the only thing that grew was my hairline. But at least my skin cleared up. My fear of being the weird kid at school quickly dissipated when I met guys like Tim Witherden, Sean the Simp Kiley, and Riley Hodgson. And if you had told me that these guys would be one of my best friends when I finished school, I probably would have believed you. There must have been something in the water in 2002 because our year is full of truly inspiring individuals. Simply mentioning names like Josh Dresser, Harrison Cook, or one and only Andy Leck is enough to make anyone smile. And of course, we can't forget about the legends we lost along the way. Sholem Matheson, Josh Pitts, we will miss you.
As for me, I was the cringy and annoying girl with the braces and glasses who, according to the boys in the back row of roll call, held a great resemblance to Sassy the Sasquatch. I was weirdly obsessed with Sticky Nicky, as was Miss Knott. I have Jennifer to thank for the love that was to flourish between Nick and I after having been forced into an elevator alone with him in Year 7. I knew straight away it was love. You can understand why I was so heartbroken when he broke up with me before recess ended. At least my relationship with Connor lasted a whole 11 days. Some relationships, however, have endured my difficult personality, with Prue, Amelia and Josie taking me on as their sad charity case in Year 7. Oh, it's still me. Like most of us, I did not expect to attend a school with a celebrity. That was until I saw Russell from Up sitting in the quad. But I didn't remember Russell being so damn sexy. Andy quickly became one of the greatest sources of entertainment, from him and Joseph Chichek having a 7-day race war to him snapping a chair under all that cake.
Still you.
Still me?
Yeah.
The class of 2020 was also plagued by prolific serial dater, known only as Jackson Brennan, for 2 weeks in Year 7. Can I please get a show of hands of the survivors that are here with us today? However, those who had to witness Ethan simping over Samara for 3 years might truly be the biggest victims of love crimes. Unfortunately, there were those whose romances never panned out, like that of Isaac and Stella, which seemed like a reality until Josie took him off the menu for 2 years. On the trend of horrifying events, Duke of Ed might have been the closest to hell I've ever been, and I quit before the train for the first hike even got there. Every few months, Mr. Chandler would return to school with a busload of traumatised children. Whether it was Sam Tadros chilling around a fire almost naked, or Nick just being there was always something to keep you up at night.
As a veteran of multiple Duke of Ed tours, words can't explain the horrors I saw. I need to apologise to Josie Gooding, who bawled her eyes out after we convinced her that Isaac got lost in the bush when we were on our first hike together. Yeah, that was a prank, by the way. Even our infallible captain, Ellie Diver, became infamously known as Hot Stepper when she introduced her shoes to a bush poo. Her dignity stayed on that hike with those shoes. While nothing inspired more fear than Matthew Alexander snapping Junior's ankle on the bus, this year's most memorable moment was undoubtedly Alia Wada, one of our 7 dignified token students, whose attempt to flirt with an exchange student backfired when he learned that she was actually our new English teacher, Miss Inkalingo. His punishment was a suspension. Oh, never mind. Oops, can't say that. His punishment was being the teacher's personal waiter for the whole swimming carnival.
Of course, everybody makes mistakes, like when Riley Hodgson made the mistake of using his phone while crossing the road in Year 8, becoming one of 2 kids to get hit by a car, although I suppose you can't really count Tom Callender, who rode his bike into a car door.
Now, what would we be without the teachers who've guided us through these past 6 years? I have to give a massive shout out to Miss Lydham for not giving up on me over the past 4 years. No matter what stupid thing I would do, whether it was inhaling bicarb soda with Sam and Andy, or playing with Nerf guns with Sam, or just having to deal with Sam and I in general. And Mr. Anderson, you might not have been the best teacher, or the most helpful, or the most caring, but I at least know that you'll miss me more than you miss Isaac. And I'll never forget the dating advice that Skivs gave me in Year 10. And of course, Mr. Hollywood, with you as our year advisor, our futures are almost as bright as your scalp.
Some students develop closer relationships with teachers than others. Mr. Ibrahim and Jessie Romaine's bromance was one we all envied. Others were unrequited and most of the time borderline illegal, with Andy's uncomfortable advances towards Mr. Hodgkinson never ever being reciprocated. And the jury is still out whether Mr. McGrath or Miss Chinfarani had the most secret or not so secret admirers.
In all seriousness, I need to thank the school for what it's given me over the past 6 years. I was lucky enough to make great friends with all different groups. My father was absolutely astounded when I told him I had an Asian friend and a Greek friend. I'll never forget the memories and bonds I've made with the people here. I want to thank my teachers for sticking by me. I cannot stress how amazingly nice this whole year group has been. You have all made these years truly special. To my adopted brothers, Isaac, Sam and Luke, you guys are family to me, and I couldn't have imagined a better group of guys to spend almost every day with. If it wasn't for you boys, I wouldn't be this man standing here today. Casey, every day spent with you is one I never regret. The experience we've shared are truly some of my greatest. My family, this year's been rough to say the least. I know I don't like to show it, but I cannot express my gratitude for your constant support. Ellie and Jacob, thank you for being amazing captains. Ellie, getting to start every day next to you has been a blessing. And Hyatt, I couldn't imagine working with anyone else this year. So thank you all, and I'll let Hyatt finish up.
I have all of you guys to thank for helping me grow and become the person I am today. The special connections we've all made I don't take for granted. To my teachers, thank you for believing in me. To all my friends, especially the shoelickers, my dads and Nick, thank you for standing by me during all these years when I was at both my best and worst. I love you all so much and can't begin to express how amazing each and every one of you are. You all deserve the world. I'd like to thank the prefects, captains, Ellie and Jacob, and my fellow Vice Captain Connor for making this experience one I won't forget. They couldn't have chosen better people. And of course, to my mum, Lena, the strongest woman I know, and the only reason I have friends. I would not have been able to be up here where I am without you, and I can only hope to become half the woman you are. I think I speak on both behalf of Connor and I. Does that make sense? I don't know. And when I say that the class of 2020 is one that is unmatched. Despite the obstacles that we have faced, we have all still managed to display resilience and make this year one that is unforgettable. Thank you all for everything.
Thank you, Connor and Hyatt. Our Year 12 music class will now perform Everybody Talks.
Hey baby, won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction. Hey baby, what you trying to say? All you're giving me is friction. Oh. you gotta say. It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her. And then she made my lips hurt. I can hear the chit chat. Take me to your love shack. Mama's always gotta backtrack when everybody talks back. Everybody talks, everybody talks. Everybody talks, everybody talks. Everybody talks, everybody talks back. Everybody talks, everybody talks. Everybody talks, everybody talks. Everybody talks, everybody talks back. Everybody talks, everybody talks. Everybody talks, everybody talks. Everybody talks, everybody talks
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water rises, you built a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, you're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay. Hope that you fall in love and it hurts so bad. The only way you can know, you give it all you had. And I hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. Hope when the moment comes, you'll say, I live. Hope that you spend your days, but they all add up. And when that sun goes down, hope you raise your cup. Oh, I wish that I could witness all your joy and all your pain, but until my moment comes, I'll say I did it all. I did it all. I owned every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. With every broken bone, I swear I lived. I swear I lived. With every broken bone, I swear I did it all. I did it all. I owned every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. With every broken bone, I swear I lived. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain, when I believed in forever and everything would stay the same. Now my heart feel like December when somebody say your name. Cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day. Hey. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Hey, hey. But everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I never felt so lost, and I felt all of the hatred was too powerful to stop. Now my heart feel like an ember, and it's lighting up the dark. I'll carry these torches for you, and you know I'll never drop. Yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Yeah, yeah. But everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. Memories bring back your.
Oop. Thanks to Caitlin Walsh who put that together for you guys. I think she sifted through a fair bit of Facebook footage and collecting little bits and pieces from everyone, so make sure you thank her today. Before I actually start, I'd like to thank Mr. Ibrahim, Mr. Burnett and Miss Lawson for basically letting us have this out here. There was a bit of a logistical nightmare trying to get all of this together, as you can imagine. Mr. Osmond and Mr. Kingsley for their camera work and getting all the live stream up for those that couldn't actually be here. The GAs for basically marking out all your little bubbles out there where you're all sitting with your families. And Miss Hadzanikis and the office staff for all their behind-the-scenes work. Round of applause. I actually feel a little bit ripped off because we reversed the program a bit and Connor stole half my material, so I apologise if we double up, but at least those events were obviously memorable for all of us. Looking back to when you guys all started in Year 7, in 2015, the world was also in turmoil. The growing threat of ISIS, the Charlie Hebdo terrorist attacks in Paris, and hundreds of thousands of migrants fleeing war-torn Syria, Afghanistan and other countries poured into Europe. The world was equally conflicted with less serious news events like the blue and black dress, or was it white and gold? Generation Z, the first generation to simultaneously straddle a virtual world and a physical world in their formative years. The first generation to grow up admiring the Insta-famous and who obtain regular life advice from YouTubers. A generation who wrestles with FOMO, from keeping up with the latest technology to fast fashion trends to managing streaks on Snapchat. All this while managing a personal brand and constant bombardment of the online world. This never phased you as a group, and as a whole, you always had a super fast uptake of anything that went viral and have unquestionably joined many a trend. From fidget spinners, cinnamon challenge, internet memes, the backpack kid, running man, damn Daniel, hoverboards, selfie sticks, and dabbing. In Year 7 and 8, Mr. Osmond started as year advisor in 2015, and I still blame him for most of the bad habits which I inherited. When you're in Year 8, he was lucky enough to gain a promotion, leaving a vacant position as year advisor out there for the taking. I must have needed a challenge at the time or had a lapse in judgment and blindly said yes and went to interview, in which I was successful, out of a pool of only 2 people. That left roughly 83 teachers who didn't want a bar of it. Your year group had already got a reputation and it wasn't overly positive. In the first month, I'd seriously questioned my decision to take on the role. Miss Nielsen's office became a shared space for the 2 of us. We had many return customers and a constant barrage of emails and phone calls from teachers, local community members, police liaison officers, and the community in general who were very keen to inform us of your daily activities. In Year 9, at this stage of your schooling, your appreciation for your teachers was shown in a way that would basically just try and annoy them. Miss Fairweather was always a good target and provided pretty much good entertainment for most of you. Your reaction / appreciation to one of the nicest people in the school, Mr. Chandler, who had taken a large group of you on Duke of Ed hike, was to zip tie him in his tent. This wasn't enough for you though. You also decided to put walkie-talkies under his tent and prank call him throughout the night so he couldn't sleep. It wasn't until there was a giant storm and you all panicked that you realised you actually needed him outside of his tent. By the end of Year 9 and the first half of Year 10, the shenanigans started to slow, but this was the phase where the majority of you were too cool for school. We had the school snow trip and recognition evening, where I clearly recognised how punishing it was to collect permission slips and generally any paperwork from the majority of you. Chasing some of you for weeks, making empty threats and trying any method possible just to get my side of my paperwork done so I didn't have to organise another event. Miss Nielsen moved on to her role as principal at South Sydney High School, and I had to move my office back into my actual staff room to make way for your new deputy principal, Miss Lawson, who was starting the following year. Year 11. After a quick introduction, Miss Lawson was up to speed with the group. However, I don't think even to this day she knows about the bullet she dodged during your earlier school years. And to Miss Wilkinson, as your assistant and year advisor. Like me, she knew what she was getting herself into and willingly applied for the position. I was thinking this was amazing and now I can share the burden of collecting paperwork and offloading most of your behavioural problems, but it turns out she was my good luck charm. You'd all matured over the Christmas school holidays to a certain extent and became normal functioning adults. Miss Wilkinson worked consistently behind the scenes and in general organisation of pretty much everything we've done as a year group. She'd let me bounce ideas off her, answer the phone well outside of work hours, and basically would let me run any idea past her and put me back in my place if it was a bit out of whack. Like today, she'll probably stay away from the spotlight, although she drew the short straw today and actually had to chair some of this, and let me take all the glory. So please make sure you catch up with her and thank her for her work over the past 2 years as well. In Year 11, we were lucky enough to have a great group of international students join us. We had students from Germany, Austria, Italy and Switzerland. The year group as a whole made them feel extremely welcome, and the friendships that developed over a short amount of time was obvious. After the internationals left, though, it left a hole. There was a clear longing to replace the beloved internationals with anyone they thought was from another country. Still looking to be inclusive of those around them and make new and interesting friends, a lone student was spotted in the playground. This student was quickly approached by the school captain, Ellie Diver. "Hi, I'm Ellie. Are you lost? Do you need me to help you get to class? Are you an international student?" The student's response was, "No, I'm in the year below you and I've been here at the school since year 7. Another example of including exchange students became apparent to me when a year 12 student aboard the packed school bus on the way to the 2020 swimming carnival. The anonymous student decided that it was a good idea to have a quick sneaky puff of his banana ice flavoured vape, as the teachers would be oblivious and he could lock in his status as a rebel. The student then caringly offered the new exchange student standing in the aisle a bit of a puff too. Much to the surprise of the student, again, it turned out to be the new English teacher. The thought was there, Ali. Year 11 is also the year when I truly knew I'd made a difference as your year advisor. After having a meeting almost weekly at this point, students were asked to bring and return a permission note to their year advisor. Permission notes again. Georgina Fardulas beelined through the crowd towards me in a panic at the end of the meeting, in which I'd just hosted as the year advisor, asking, "Who even is our year advisor and how do I get the slip to them?" On the topic of dating, you've done plenty, especially Jackson Brennan. Jackson Brennan had 8 girlfriends in year 7, which is a pretty strong start. From what I've learned though, he met his quota all in that 1 year and has taken a break for a while. There is Tom and Lily. They are solid and have just become pretty much part of the wallpaper. But then there's Nick Bold. Nick Bold, the fastest man in year 8. Applied his love for speed to all aspects of his life, even speed dating. After asking Hyatt out, they dated for all of 30 minutes until he broke it off because he changed his mind, leaving a very confused Hyatt in his wake. In fairness, I know Nick does feel bad about that now, but Hyatt, you still have the upper hand. On a serious note though, and hopefully some advice you can take away with you today, other than don't ask people out if you don't think you're going to change your mind 30 minutes later, I've paraphrased the following for you to think about, knowing that you're moving into an important stage of your life. Be ambitious. Always work hard to achieve your goals, no matter how out of reach they may seem. Ambition is made up of 95% hard work and 5% dreams. No ambition can be realised without a level of enthusiasm and a passion and a strong desire to succeed. Be courageous. Remember to challenge yourself to do things you never thought you could do. Always try to conquer your fears and have the courage to follow your dreams. Sometimes having courage is as simple as taking the first small step into the unknown or trying new and different things. Value education. Learn new things every day and make the most of the opportunities that come your way. Remember that you can't learn everything in a classroom. Getting an education is not just about being at school. Learn new things every day from your family, friends, and being part of your community. Also, one of my probably favourite quotes that I like, I think you can actually pretty much sum up pretty much everyone in the crowd and put them into 3 different categories. There are 3 types of people in the world. Those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those who say, "Huh, what happened?" So make sure you choose wisely. With all the news outlets constantly suggesting we forget 2020, it is hard not to take notice and want to move on. Don't let the new normal be an excuse for standing in place. It is up to you guys to not become the class that never was. You're now going to see your student video, which was edited by your prefects.
Hey Siri, call the captains. Hey guys, how are you? Look, I'm having trouble finding a tighter shirt for Jessie. Can you guys help me? Yeah? Great, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Hey Connor. Oh,
Yeah, I brought the whole
the
team.
gang's all here.
Full
How are you
team.
guys?
Not bad. You put some music on, sir?
Yeah, mate, no problems.
High School. Jay Pignall. Taylor Chapman. Callum Payne. Jay. Jay, I guess. I'll go Dallas. Mitchell Pitt. First crush at Cronulla High.
Jay.
Ellie died in year 7.
Ellie's blushing.
Snap.
Luke Langer. Mitchell.
We might as well get a good stop. Oh,
Okay. First crush at Cronulla High School.
You said Sky? Yeah, he did. Sky.
Oh, Crookie.
Just don't go red, okay?
First crush at Cronulla High. Mine was Braden Gill.
Nice.
First crush at Cronulla High School.
Craig Chandler.
Mine was Jacob.
First crush at Cronulla High School.
Reese Timmy. Jackson Brennan. I hate that.
Yeah, Rob Hopman.
First crush at Cronulla High School.
Ethan?
Ethan? Yeah, come on.
I don't think I'll be answering this question.
Ethan.
No comments.
Ethan.
No, I'm really talking.
First crush at Cronulla High School.
Nicholas Ball. Probably Isaac Whitbread. That makes me want to die.
Man, that's embarrassing.
It was in year 9, not year 7. So doesn't that make it worse?
Yeah, that makes it worse.
Yeah, it was in year 7.
Alright, first crush at Cronulla High School.
Tim Witherden. Has to be Tim Witherden. You gonna say anything?
What? Tim Witherden.
First crush at Cronulla High.
Steve Buscemi. I mean, I was going to say the same one as Sade, but she's just stole it. Excuse me.
I know you're hurting, feels like you're learning about life the hard way, and it ain't working. 'Cause I know how hard it can get. You gotta live, you gotta live. And sometimes that's how it is, but I know you're stronger, stronger than this. You gotta live. You gotta.
Favorite memory?
I witnessed Mr. Minus snap a chair in the staff room, and that was pretty good.
My favorite memory? When I made Josh cry in the D&T stuff. His computer in there.
I just went back the other day and I snapped some kids' ankles.
Maybe when Ali mistaken the teacher as an exchange student.
Or that. When we went down the hill and ended up in a burrito.
Right, favourite memory.
When Millie kicked the dog and killed it.
Favourite memory of Cronulla High School.
Sarah Hazeman deciding to clip my bra in front of Miss Cleary.
Favourite memory.
When Stella and I convinced Mrs. Gibbers we were going on a trip to Zimbabwe.
Don't like the Hulk.
Always late.
My favourite memory was honestly all the funny jokes that were told in multimedia in year 11.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Hulk.
Like the Hulk.
Yeah. Like the
That
Hulk.
one time Matt broke that kid's ankle.
He was there.
He was there. I was there. I was the kid whose ankle got
Was when the office ladies decided to use me as a prop and I had to reenact my own seizure on the floor.
Couple you forgot about at Cronulla High. Definitely Ellie and Tom. Bit of a year 7 gem there. Tom and Ellie. Ellie and Tom. 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 Couple you forgot about at Cronulla High. Josie and Isaac. Ellie and Tom. Josie and Isaac.
Yeah, them. Definitely Rick and Hyatt.
Hyatt and Nick. Ellie and Tom Callender. Ellie and Tom Callender. Nick and Olivia. Jackson, Mia Bates.
Toes down.
from my mind. You asked me what I wanted to be, and now I think the answer is plain to see.
Yahoo! I like your cookies.
Nothing in my way. I'll get there one day.
Right? When are you going to grow up? When are you going to grow up? When are you going to get a decent haircut? Like, you should look at leaving at the end of this shit. I've had enough. I'm going to get on the phone.
Yeah, we'll leave that out. We'll leave that out.
Favourite student?
My favourite student was LV Howe until she dropped my legal studies class.
What's doing, sir? To the car.
Favourite student?
Sean Kennedy, hands down. Big friendly giant.
Favourite memory with our year?
Ski trip was pretty good. All the little surf trips as well.
Yeah. Favourite student?
Well, everyone in my Year 12 legal class, but there, I suppose Ellie deserves a mention.
So I've heard your wife's a psychologist.
Everyone has.
Okay, so I've had the pleasure last term to take 3 Year 12 business classes, and one day I had 12 business studies 4, and Isaac Whitbread showed me his homework and it looked fantastic. I was very proud that he did his homework that lesson. And then the next period I went to my other business studies class and I asked Prue Turner for her homework, and she said she had to go and quickly pick it up. So I let her go and she went and grabbed it and brought it back, and it had surprisingly the exact same handwriting as Isaac's work. So we then realised that Isaac was just claiming Prue's work as his own. But I don't want you to show this because we just don't want to give Isaac any more airtime.
Who won't you miss, or what won't you miss?
What won't I miss? I won't miss coming to class each day and copping abuse for things like what I wear, my general appearance, how I write things on the board, just my own life choices. Yeah, I won't miss that.
And who won't you miss, or what won't you miss?
I won't miss. Who won't I miss? I won't miss all of my class, my music class. I won't miss them. I won't miss them trying to get out of oral lessons. That's what I won't miss. Them as a pack, the pack mentality of them trying to get out of oral lessons is what I definitely won't miss.
Fair enough.
Do we look tough?
Yeah.
Favourite student?
None.
I have lots of favourite moments in my physics class, but not one favourite student.
Elvie.
Favourite memory?
When my protege, Josh Dresser, said that Jesus was born in the 1700s.
And who/what won't you miss?
Constant abuse from Ava Jones.
I miss everything. I'm going to miss actually one of my favourite physics classes. So
I'm not going to miss trying to diffuse awkward comments from Andy during the show. There were a lot of them.
Okay.
I'm in team. I'm third.
just film and just cut out the crappy bits.
Yeah.
Okay?
Chanel. Is that a name? Chanel.
Yeah.
Is that good? Yeah, it's fine. Favourite memory?
I think it would have to be making Jessie Romaine cry in the Year 9 roll call. Yes! Yes. It's like, I won't miss that. It's just the peak of my career, really. Next.
Who/what won't you miss?
Whitbread.
And who/what won't you miss?
No one. I won't miss anyone.
Yeah, you can do it again.
I can't do it. It's too embarrassing.
Favourite memory?
I can't narrow it down to one thing, but I would just say having you guys from Year 7 through to Year 12. So when I first came to the school, you guys were the first group that I started off with in Year 7. So you're my first official run through with 6 years. So it's been great to just see you grow and mature and, achieve things along the way. So just in general, it's been great. Yeah.
Favourite student?
My whole legal class.
Favourite memory?
Year 11 camp.
And who or what won't you miss?
When is that due? Or miss, I have a question.
Favourite student?
Tom Calendar.
Favourite memory?
Time Tom Calendar spoke very inappropriately about me.
Who or what won't you miss?
Tom Calendar.
Who or what won't you miss?
Ava Jones. Without a doubt, Ava Jones.
Favourite student?
My mentee, Charles McGrath.
Favourite memory?
Whenever all year 12 turn up in year 7 and they're sitting and they're quiet and they're just angels.
Okay, favourite student?
It'd have to be Connor Reardon and his dedication to PHP.
Favourite student?
Favourite student, Neve, because she's not here anymore.
Who or what won't you miss?
I'll miss all the dancers. They're always happy, so excited to come to dance and make me feel good. Make me feel good. Hopefully I make them feel good. I'll cut that one.
Who's your favourite student?
Ooh, I think a lot of my society and culture girls, definitely Chanel when she's having one of her crazy, like, really hyperactive days where she's just really terrifying but also hilarious at the same time.
What was your favourite memory?
My favourite memory was the athletics carnival last year with year 11, dancing in the rain to Time Warp.
Favourite student?
McRae Twins, hands down.
Alright, favourite memory?
Would have to be Connor Dillon taking a ball to the face in the dodgeball game. That was sensational.
My favourite student is a really tough one. I think I would have to say I love them all equally. But if I had to pick, I would pick a boy and a girl to be fair. And the one that I worked with the most was Jacob Alfara. He was my mentee. So I think I would probably have the strongest relationship with him. And the female would have to be Caitlin Walsh. She was my first memory of Cronulla High School. It was sport time and she came down to help me do my job. I'm like, hang on a minute, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And she's like, no miss, I like doing it. Give me anything you need me to do. Let's go, I'll do this. And this is how you do the buses and this is how you do this. So, you know, deputy principal, vice deputy principal of the school would have to be Caitlin Walsh. And next question.
Your favourite memory? Just a lot.
What I won't miss is having to chase up those students who left when they had a study period without signing out. That was definitely a fun part of my job.
Favourite memory?
I've got a lot of fond memories of this year group, but I have to say my favourite memory is when they all returned to school after lockdown. Because one of my worst memories, something that will always stick with me, was the day I had to stand in front of them in the library and tell them that basically don't come to school, we're going into lockdown. Just to suffer.
Favourite student?
I don't have any. I have ones I don't like. I can't wait to get rid of Sarah Hazelman. She's been a pain in my backside for years. Caitlin Walsh is another one. Has been tried to organise me. She first did it to Humphreys, drove him out of here, then did it to Nielsen, drove her out, and she tried hard with me but never got there. And the only other one is Cooper Mannion. Love him to death, but it's a love-hate relationship. I just want to say, don't let what's going on this year define you guys. And I've been really, really proud of the way that most of you have bounced back. So whatever happens with your HSC results, don't let it define you. You guys are fantastic, shown enormous resilience, and I've got enormous pride in all of you. Be true to yourselves throughout life, and if you do that, you will go a long way.
Before I commence, I just want to say thank you to Year 12 and their families for understanding why we delayed your graduation. Hopefully you believe it was worth it. We certainly do. And the guides smiled down on us this afternoon. I was up from 1 o'clock this morning studying the radar map, and I didn't think this was going to get on, let alone finish. So we do live in God's country. A warm welcome to Year 12, along with family and friends, as we come together to celebrate the completion of your formal schooling. Year 12 have missed out on a number of milestones and experiences due to circumstances beyond their control. So even though this graduation has been delayed, we are happy that the easing health regulations now allow us to give them a special day that will provide them with some great memories. When I began thinking about my address for today, I couldn't get past the thoughts around what a year it's been. When this Year 12 began their HSC studies in Term 4 of last year, we had some strange weather. It was starting to get a bit hot and the state was in drought. Fairly normal really for New South Wales. But then 2020 reared its ugly head and our world and vocabularies changed. Words often define us, although there are some that shouldn't be used. I have often told Year 12 never to use the F word in my presence. They know it's not a free period, it's a study period. And today I don't really want to focus on the dreaded C word. That's corona or COVID for those who have had their heads in the sand. But it's difficult to avoid when talking about 2020. If you look back over the year, you'll see that we used and heard words that weren't really part of our speech before 2020. Think back, you'll remember words and phrases such as state of emergency, record-breaking temperatures, massive bushfires, catastrophe, emergency, devastation, fireball, holocaust, and war zone. If this was a competition, the winning word would have been unprecedented. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm tired. It was a shocking and frightening time for so many, and this is how Year 12 began their final year of study. But 2020 decided to ramp it up even further, and we began hearing of a certain virus. Once again, rarely used words began to dominate our lives. Have a think about how often you've heard some of them, such as social distancing, self-isolation, travel restrictions, reduced workforce, job loss, job keeper, job seeker, global emergency, quarantine, flattening the curve, the Ruby Princess, and antibacterial wipes. Who would have thought that the winning words of the year would have been hand sanitizer or toilet paper? This time, the impact on all of us, and especially our students, was significant. We asked them to continue to work hard, keep studying, complete their required tasks, and do it all from home. Schools closed, then opened, but operated differently. Teachers and students had to find new ways to teach and learn. But the year has kept moving onwards, and for Year 12, that meant assessment tasks, trials, and the high school certificate itself. I stand here today to say how proud we are of this group of students. They've taken everything that this year has thrown at them, putting up with disruption, uncertainty, and constantly changing rules. They have shown understanding, patience, and adaptability, and a willingness to keep moving forward. Their resilience has been amazing. These are the words that should be highlighted for this year, because except during wartime, no other group of students has had to face such challenges. Our Year 12 students have really stepped up and shown what capable young men and women they are. Now, as I do this time every year, I would like all Year 12 to please stand. Now that you are standing, I would like you to firstly look over at your family and friends, and then to look around at your teachers. While you are doing this, I want you to think about these two groups of people and the influence they have had on your life and the partnership they have formed that has supported you, encouraged you, laughed and at times even cried with you, been there for you during both the good and bad times, kicked you in the backside when needed, and put up with you through this whole process. It is for all these reasons and many more Year 12, that you should now give these people a round of applause to show your appreciation for getting you here today. Thank you. Take a seat again, please. For some, this journey has been a fairly smooth one, while for others it has been much more of a bumpy ride. At times, some have lost the motivation to go on or forgotten why they decided to accept the challenge of undertaking and completing the high school certificate. However, you have all made it. Some will measure their success by the result they will receive in late December, or by the course they are accepted into at university, TAFE, or even the job they undertake next year. While for others, success will simply be the fact that they have achieved their goal of attaining a high school certificate. Whatever the reason, you have all made it, and that is something that can never be taken away from you. So well done. There are many exceptional young men and women among you. Many of you have been terrific role models for other students in the school, and you will all become outstanding citizens in our society. Over the last 6 years, I have been very fortunate to witness most of these students grow into fine young men and women. To read the amazing reports of some of our outstanding students, such as Maya Berakloff, Yumi Kasaseli, Grace Cutts, April Drury, Amy Goodman, Elvie Howell, Ande Leck, Stella McCann, Casey O'Brien, Callum Payne, Kayla Philpott, Kirsty Sant, Ashley Scara, Elizabeth Smith, Ella Straker, Chanel Wilson and Hayat Yassin, just to mention a few, has always been a pleasure. Unfortunately, 2020 has deprived us of many things. These include not being able to watch some of our very talented sports people representing the school for one last year, such as Jacob Alfero, Nicholas Bold, Jackson Brennan, April Drury, Bailey Fowler, Sky Gosby, Jay Godvic Dobson, Ryan Lee, Cooper Mannion, Rebel McFadden, Tian McGrath, Sabine Moller, Charlotte O'Brien, Callum Payne, Oscar Payne, Kayla Philpott, Maxim Raya, Kirsty Sant, Tiana Sedman and Jared Stoffels. All will leave big holes in the sporting area as they have successfully represented the school in a variety of sports at a number of levels. Also, Alex Boskovsky and Lachlan Ward too are elite athletes who have excelled in their chosen sports but have been impacted by the restrictions of this year. To observe the creative talents of some of our visual arts students such as Sade Spencer, Kirsty Irvin and Yumi Kasaseli was breathtaking. Emma Orrell, Caitlin Walsh and Isabella Bland impressed us with their drama performances. The culinary delights of our hospitality students such as Brianna Rutherford, Maxim Raya and Isabella Brand were magnificent. And our talented dancing queens, Kiara Commons, Josie Gooding, Paige Persane and Sophie Piggott, most of whom have danced for the school for the last 6 years, with some even performing overseas, have been exceptional. The amazing creative and technological talents of our multimedia students, such as Maya Berakloff, Jonas Segal and Elias Mastros, had to be seen to be believed. You would go a long way to find better. We have been very fortunate to have been entertained over years by the musical talents of Matea Bedwell, Connor Dillon, Katya Harvey, Stella McCann and Hayat Yassin. The production of school events from our entertainment vet class has certainly continued to improve because of the work and commitment of students such as Tian De Burko, Prudence Turner and Brock Watman, just to mention a few. There are many others who I also could have mentioned who week in and week out have just gone quietly doing their work and always giving their best. These few examples show that Cronulla High School has served you well and equipped you with the necessary knowledge, skills, experience and values to meet any opportunities and challenges that may lay ahead of you. I can assure you these challenges will be many and varied. As this year has shown us, society and the world are constantly changing and you have to be prepared to change with it. All this will mean a life of ongoing challenges, learning, opportunities, taking risks, and at times uncertainty. In the same way that I feel Cronulla High has served you well, I also believe that over the years you have served Cronulla High School well, in the way you have applied yourselves to your studies, participated in various activities, and done much to enhance the reputation of the school in the community. For this, we thank you and we are very proud of you. Thanks and congratulations must also go to our school captains, Ellie Dive and Jacob Alfero, and our vice captains, Hyatt Yassine and Connor Dillon, for the work they have done leading the prefects and the rest of the school body. You were all terrific ambassadors and fulfilled your duties and responsibilities well. Special thanks too to Mr. Thomas Hollywood, who has been your year advisor over the last 3.5 years of high school and has supported, guided, led and nurtured you over this time. Thanks also to Miss Amy Wilkinson, who has been your assistant year advisor for the last 2 years. She has made Mr. Hollywood look good time and time again. I can't forget Mr. Hahn Osman, who accepted the challenge of bringing together our largest ever Year 7 at that time. He welcomed you into the school and remained your year advisor until you wore him out. Year 12 have been very fortunate to have had all three of you through their significant time of their developing years. Year 12 as a group always hold a special place in my thoughts, as I take great joy and pride in seeing them grow into fine young men and women. However, I will never forget the class of 2020. The look on your faces when you were told that school was closed really struck a chord with me. It was just about the hardest thing I have had to do as a principal. But your smiles when the school reopened will be part of my best memories of this year. Finally, on behalf of the Cronulla High School community, I would like to congratulate you on completing 13 years of schooling, the high school certificate, and overcoming the challenges that 2020 presented you with. We all wish you all the best in your future endeavours. Enjoy the next chapters of your life.
The Cronulla High School 2021 captains, Celeste and Chike and Kai Fowler, will now give their farewell to the class of 2020.
Good afternoon, students, parents, and staff. Thank you all for joining us here today to celebrate the graduating class of 2020. Year 12 has provided us with help, resources, and support as we transitioned into our senior years. Additionally, we'd like to thank you for the beautiful mural leaving your legacy behind.
It's been a tough year of Zoom calls and remote learning, yet your perseverance and dedication has been highlighted through the tribulations of this recent pandemic. For this, we congratulate you for staying focused throughout the tough times.
Your enthusiasm and motivation has paved the way for us as we take on the battle of Year 12 and the daunting HSC. By following in your footsteps, we are sure to succeed in the same way that you all have done.
We're sure you'll all miss Mr. Sheldon's Wednesday and Thursday sport announcements and Mr. Ibrahim's Friday morning merit assembly. Hopefully you all snagged $100. Although you're rather lucky to escape before B Block becomes a death trap.
We wish you the best of luck with your future endeavours and know that you have all set yourselves up for great achievements.
P.S. We'd like to let you know you have all fulfilled the dreams of Andy Leck and have made Cronulla High School great again.
Cronulla High School would just like to thank everybody for coming today and enjoying and celebrating Year 12 of 2020. I will now slowly get Year 12 to leave, but before I do, can we all please, as they stand, give them a large round of applause. Stand for me, guys. Year 12. You may pick up your towels, your last Cronulla High School memento, and march for one last time into the quad to get ready for roll call. Off you go, into the quad, thank you.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not, 'cause the drinks bring
Now
back
families, can I please get you to stay in your pods for one more moment?
Toast to the ones that today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain, when I believed in forever, and everything would stay the same. Now my heart feel like December when somebody say your name, 'cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day. Everybody hurts sometimes. Everybody hurts sometimes.
Okay, before we all start to leave, we do have to be COVID safe on the exit. So if I can get you to stay where you are, you're going to feel like you're back in high school. We are going to slowly dismiss row by row, and we really need to make sure that we keep social distancing. So those in row 12, up the very back, you did get the last seats, but you're first to leave. So row 12 only. Can I get those families to stand and start to leave? I'm really sorry, but we just need to make sure we're keeping that social distancing.
Memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I never felt so lost, and I felt all of the hatred.
If you are in row 1, can I get you also to stand? Row 1. And you guys may leave. Thank you so much for being with us today.
And you know I never drop, yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday, but everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got.
If you are in row A or column A, you may stand and leave. Column A. And column N, you may go also. Column N. Row 11, thank you so much for today.